let's get it.
Hello, and welcome to the MGCI Global Community Initiative General Session for February. My name is Heather Cook. I am your host and one of the leaders of this program, so thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. I know we just had some links go out on LinkedIn to remind everybody about the call, and a new meeting request out to everybody's emails. So we'll go ahead and get started. We are recording, just so everybody knows that. We do have our digital event code of conduct where we respect each other, and if you have questions or things that you want to talk about during our chat, please use the chat or raise your hand. We have a bunch of stuff to go through today and a wonderful guest speaker that we're really excited about. So definitely, use the tools that we have in Teams for sure. And if people get loud or come off mute in the middle of things, we may mute you, especially during our guest speakers stuff as well. So just be mindful of that as well. You are in the Microsoft Global Community Initiative General Session that we do once a month. We host them on this Tuesday of the month, the third Tuesday, and we have them at 8:10 a.m. Pacific and 5:10 p.m. Pacific in two different time zones. We do record these calls and put them up in our MGCI teams, and we are also posting them to our Microsoft Community YouTube Learning channel as well. If you have other folks at your company who would like to join, you can check out aka.ms MGCI about what is this about. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And then you can also sign up at the other AKA link as well. So today we're going to have some subcommittee updates from our board members. Board members are community members, non-Microsoft folks. And then we also have an awesome topic about automating your events with Miha Zimba. And he's going to talk about all this cool stuff. I've already seen the slides. It's going to be awesome. And community events and updates, and then a little bit of open discussion if we have time. We've got a lot of updates today, so we'll see if we actually get to Q&A. I'm not sure yet. But what is the mission of MGCI? We feature event amplification, event production training. We write blogs, networking, technology and tools, best practices, playbooks, and more for the Microsoft community. So helping those of you who are looking for tools and information and best practices on how to create local events in your communities, you are in the right place. That is what we do on a monthly basis with everybody. Why join? Again, lots of best practices and playbooks. We're going to have a lot more templates and playbooks coming out. And I've got some cool announcements of some things that are coming up very soon. These are our appointed board officers. Board officers are appointed by our Microsoft steering committee that I'm a part of. And so these are all of your folks who are board members out in the world. So thank you to them for all their hard work. We had a great meeting last week. Everybody was on the meeting. We had a great talk about sort of looking forward and some of the things that we're going to be doing. And they'll share some of those things in our subcommittee updates. And then I wanted to make an announcement that we've got Wes Preston and Sharon Weaver, who are now becoming board members. So give them a round of applause, everybody, if you would like. Some claps there, which is going to be awesome. Thank you. Yes, they were regional leads and doing such a great job. And Wes has headed up the event training subcommittee for a long time, and Sharon's coming in to work with Wes on that. Big thank you also, excuse me, to David Wilhelm and David Levier, who have rolled off that subcommittee but are still regional leads, and just saying thank you to them for all of their help and hard work. So that's awesome. Let's see. Teams meeting, we're back to Teams meetings. Lots of folks had said that they really like the interaction of the chat and being able to do that with each other. So we have worked out coming back to Teams meetings instead of a stream. We will post these up on the YouTube channel though, so people can learn about what's going on in these. So that's what's happening for right now. It's been a little fluid, so and back and forth a little bit. So appreciate your patience with that. Couple other things that are coming up. Microsoft Builds dates were announced. That's coming up in May. If you would like to sign up for their updates, you can just go out to put Microsoft Build in your search engine. It'll take you there and you can sign up for updates on when things are going to be coming and registrations open and all of that stuff. Ignite thing. There's if you go to Microsoft Ignite on a search engine, you can go see all the information for that show that's coming up, and that will be in San Francisco. So our subcommittees, we have expanded a little bit on the subcommittees. So Isadora and Jennifer continue to head up communications and amplification. We have added a new one, sponsorship and sponsors. That seems to be a place where people are looking for more guidance and trying to also think about, who out there in the world might sponsor an event, from Microsoft partners to others to local people in your communities. So Mike and Mark and Sharon are going to head that new subcommittee up. Tom continues with our tech and tools and also running communitydays.org. Training is Sharon and Wes, like I said. And then we have I will call you a gaggle of regional leaders that came in last year about May timeframe, I believe it was. And so there's between 50 and 60 of you all. And so we thought, you know what, we're going to have board members be regional leader leads and help out a little bit more of like what you all are doing in the world and making some connections with you. So Tom and Rodolfo Ince is going to do that and take those up. So really excited about all of our subcommittees. If you're part of MGCI, you will get updates around how to sign up for a subcommittee. So in our Teams area, so definitely do sign up for MGCI, and we will get you in there as well. There we go. So let's see. I'm not sure who's on today, and I will give some of these updates if we don't have folks on. I don't think. Oh, Jennifer is here. Hey, Jennifer, do you want to give a quick update on communications?
Yep. Hey, everybody. It's great to be here today. Like Heather said, we're working on some stuff with some communications. So we're working on kind of trying to finalize where all of our content will be. So we're going to be making some updates there and then letting everyone know, and as well as getting our newsletters out again and some different playbooks. We'll probably also send some communications about the new groups that we have and make sure everyone knows how to get involved. So as always, if you guys want to be part of the comm stream or want to help us out anyway, go ahead and reach out and let us know. But I think those are our updates for today. So, hey, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. That's great. We are going to bounce into Tom Daly and Ryan. Let's see. Is Tom on this morning? Yes, he is. Hi, Tom. Yay. Please. Thank you.
Right. Yes, we got a lot of exciting updates. So for February, so these are all the things that we've been working on since the last call. We've rolled out a number of things, and then things have slid into the new, the new work stream. So one of the items here, again, the numbers insignificant. That's the numbers that we call them on the board. Event guidelines. So we get a lot of questions about what types of events. How do I get things approved? I submitted it. It didn't get approved. So we've added like a baseline event guidelines on the event submission creation process. So it'll be a button in the top right that says event guidelines. You can click it and see what are guidelines. They're guidelines. So, it's not set in stone. There's always exceptions. We want to work with every event to get them up there. But there's certain events that, fit better than others. And so those are the guidelines available for everybody to see. And now we have refining sponsorship applications. So another defect that came in, we want to be able to allow sponsors to quickly submit something of interest instead of filling out the full application, right? So it's just a quick little name, contact me through email or phone number. And that's going to make things a lot easier for people to, communicate with sponsors. It's really about opening the door as quick as possible to just, let them submit something very quick and easy. Next, we have an issue for double logon. So this thing's been haunting me since day one. Double logon, if you log in, it sometimes redirects you, and then you have to log in again. So we've corrected that, and it has to do with the domain name and the DNS and all that stuff. So we fixed that finally. It's just like one of those lurking bugs. But it was not harmful. It was just very annoying. Especially for someone who logs in a lot, like myself. Next, display filter box on the events page. So by default, when you go to the events, right, we have this filter box. There's a lot of great options in there. Call for speakers, showing events that have call for sponsors. So we want to open that up by default, and then allow people to close it and kind of keep it closed. But if we want it open, but it takes up a little bit of real estate. So we want people to see the options. That's why we're now going to keep it open by default. All right, what are we working on? Actually, profile enhancements has made its way all the way up. That one's actually rolled out. So if you're an organizer or a speaker and you go to your profile, the speaker board, or through the organizer tab of an event, you'll see a better, like a profile of all the stuff that you've worked on, right? So those are the new things that I released on Friday with the team here. We got it out the door on Friday. Deep links into sessions that came with user profiles. So the user profile page, if you click on one of the links to a session, it will literally bring you right to the session, scroll down on the page to the session. So it's a quicker way. Before it would just link you to the page and you'd have to go and find it, which it's a little bit more efficient. Another one that we're working on right now, it's almost done, social sharing of events. So we're going to be putting we got a picture of this one, so I'll talk about that on the next slide. So for organizers and for us, people that are approving, we are doing automatic reminders, right? So if we see a lot of events sitting in draft, I just think people forget, or they just don't want, they don't publish it. So we're going to start reminding you, hey, you have an event in draft, like publish it, go out there, please publish it. Or and then also for us, since we sometimes forget, if it's like over a weekend, if an event comes in, or it's a very holiday or something like that, we don't see it for an extra day or two. It's going to remind us every day to go in there and approve the events. A lot of you I approve the same day, basically. Like I try to get to them as fast as possible because I don't want you to wait on us to get those events approved. Filter speaker board. This is also coming very soon. So the speaker board's been being filled up with people who've been on there for years, and we're going to be slicing and dicing it into the years so that you'll see who is the most active speaker in 2014. I'm sorry, 2014. Where'd that come? 2024, 2025, and then we'll keep of all time. But we want to get fresh people on there and show you people that are like doing stuff right now. Changing the time zone.
Tom, you got about 5 more minutes. So. Oh,
okay. Let's forget the rest of this. Actually, the most exciting thing on here, which I'll mention, the most exciting thing is that we are adding subscriptions to the weekly. We want to add a subscription mechanism for you to go and create subscriptions. So if you want to see all events in North America or all events in Europe or wherever you are, you can set up. We already have the filters in there where the events are. We want you to create a subscription, and then we'll email you when when events happen or when new events come in. So we'll do it you can pick when you want, like monthly, bi-weekly, interval. And that's the exciting thing that's coming up. So that's getting started now. All right, cool. Now let's go. This is the profile enhancements. So I just mentioned this earlier, where you can the top little section, sessions and events, and then the bottom section is the organizer events. So you can see history of people. Again, for organizers, you have to be publicly listed as an organizer. There's a lot of people that may be listed as an organizer, but more behind the scenes. There's a checkbox for the primary organizer to display who they want to control, who gets displayed, right? So they have to make sure that you're publicly on there, which also means you need to sign into the site. So if you don't see yourself for an event that you're organizing, ask the organizer to add you and then sign in, make sure you have a picture and all that good stuff. So that you can show up on sites. That's so cool. I love that, Tom. It's great. Yeah, I was so happy when we got to that. This one's also very, very cool. This is social sharing. So we want people to go to our site and share that they're going to events, that they're interested in events. So we're adding this right now. I think we're in the final testing phase of this. So you can share on LinkedIn, X, Blue Sky, Facebook, WhatsApp, email, and if there's anything else you think of that your group uses a lot, let us know, because I can add more. There's no real limit. Those are the ones that that we think people are using. So could be wrong. But anyway, here's speaker board filtering. So this was taken a couple of days ago of just 2025 events. I think there's really only been 2 2025 events, but you can see, so we have a it's like a fresh slate of new speakers, and we're going to see it evolve, as time goes on. So it's really a fun way, to go and see, if there's somebody that you know of, you can go see where they've, or even yourself, you can go check on the events. Now, I get a ton of questions on where do these events come from? How do we get on the board? Why am I not on the board? Right? We only pull in communitydays.org events that are sessionized enabled or run events enabled, right? So you have to have done a call for speakers through sessionize or run events. They have to be typically non-paid. It's non-paid unless it's like $10. That's not a problem. Yeah. The free community events, and the event has to use those things to build the schedule. If they don't, then we don't have access to that information. So that's where it's all coming from. Quick shout out to our volunteers of the month. That we try to thank everybody that's been helping out with the site, whether it's feedback, features. Real quick, Mark Ron helping with our email templates. Jason Rivera always helping me test things and giving me feedback. Manpreet always giving back, always telling me something's wrong with the site, which I love. Daniel Glenn's had some great suggestions on the sponsor form, which we've implemented. Russ Onizuka, who helps me with the profiles and merging and a lot of testing of backend data. And Shari, who also shares comments and feature requests and bug requests this past month. So, thank you to our volunteers. Like, the site gets better as people, give me feedback and we can evolve. And that's it for me. So it's a whole lot of words.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and your face is on this next slide.
Yeah,
this isn't yours. So
a young face is on that.
That's awesome, Tom. Thank you so much, Tom, and everyone who helps. We'll go back to this slide really quick. Everybody who's been helping along the way and who's helping recently, appreciate all of that. And I put in the chat, if you're in our MGCI teams, when we post up the PowerPoint and the recording after these calls, I'll make sure that there's the sign up for both if you want to join in helping testing or if you want to join one of the subcommittees. So thank you for that, Tom. That's great. And then Wes or Sharon. A little training update there.
I'll go if Sharon's not. All right.
Yeah.
So we've got a schedule of topics that we've laid out for the rest of the year. We're working on coordinating with other folks to help us present that content. Also important to remember that every time we have a training session, it includes office hours. So it's a great touch point to reach out with other event organizers, find out what's working, what's not, ask questions, all of that fun stuff. Doesn't have to be about that topic, could be about anything. And our next meeting is on February 27th, where Tom's going to be doing an overview and digging into how to use the Community Day site. So that's going to be super helpful for those of us that are trying to get events up on the calendar in the next year.
That is awesome. Thank you, Wes, for that. This is great. And as you can see, all the Wes and Sharon, we met and they put together a lovely set of events. And different folks from different event organizers and the board are going to be slotted in to present on the different topics. But I love it that you have it for the whole year. Thank you so much for that. We're going to work on that for these general sessions too. That's fantastic. So
Sharon is organizer supreme. So all praise to that.
Is. Yeah, I was like, whoop, whoop to Sharon. So for sure. Cool. So we're going to transition into our wonderful guest speaker, but I'm going to put this in here now. If you want to have this at the ready or maybe pull this up, this is feedback on this meeting. So let us know if you like the meeting, and also if you're happy that we're back in Teams and the guest speaker and all of that stuff. But I'll put that up there now, and I'll put it up again later because I do really appreciate all the feedback that comes in. We read everything and listen and try and be agile and make changes. So yes, there we go. Okay, so. Now to get into the best part. No, yeah, one of the best parts anyway. So do you want to take control? Awesome. Okay, cool. Mihal, come on in here and rock this out, automating your events. So yeah, I'm gonna give you a spotlight.
Thank you for having me this on this session and probably later today. If I don't fall asleep, because this will be 2 a.m. at night.
Right. Yes.
So, how to automate events? I would say there is no magic wand. Don't expect miracles. And of course, if you have a lot of money, you can, of course, pay someone to make this happening, but it doesn't happen automatically. So there is no one tool for everything or for your whole event. But before I will jump into how you can make your event smooth, automating it in some parts, let me tell you a little story about our first big event organized in September 2023. As a community, little community, we decided to organize the first Baltic Summit in 2023, almost 4 months before the event. You know, this is mission impossible and it sounds crazy. But we managed to have about 120 attendees from 200, more even 200 registered. And this was a pretty good result for a free of charge event organized so fast. But we have been hit by enormous amount of work to collect speakers, sessions, find sponsors, and to be noticed by the community. The last was extremely important. We had 200 seats to fill in our venue, and no one knew about us. So I was everywhere. In 2024, we decided to make it again. This time we started in January 2024 and again aimed for Baltic Summit in September. Plenty of time, already experience. You may say piece of cake. Not exactly. This time we have raised a little bit the bar a little bit. So we have 300 seats. This time we had to fill in 300 seats, and again we found out that the organization costs us enormous amount of money, or not money, but work, until late of night and sometimes early in the morning. So you may ask, didn't we learn anything? Couldn't we turn our experience from the last year into a kind of an autopilot? Well, we did, but it was still a lot of work. And I will show you my tips, but I know that you might have better tips and tricks. So please share them with us during this session so we can all grow better together. And I would love to see your feedback or your inputs on this topic. And I haven't told you this, anybody before, but one of the main reasons which brought me to the MGCI event producers community was hoping for the answer that this question, if there is an automation tool available to make it smooth. Well, here is what I found out. Of course, the Baltic Summit was not the first event we made. We started in 2022, organizing first Global Power Platform Community Polish edition online event. And since June 2022, we have organized many small in-person meetups in north of Poland, near Gdańsk, or in Gdańsk. This way, some people already knew about us, so it was not so hard to reach out to them. But there was still too few. But it doesn't matter if you are organizing yearly or monthly event, make sure that the platform, whatever you use for event registration, has the ability to copy the event. Just by copying the information from the past events, it saves you a lot of time, since you don't need to upload your logo, make a description again, defining tags or assigning categories again in the new platform, or in the same platform, which doesn't give you a possibility to copy the event. And after a few events organized in different venues or in different places, it may happen that the next event you will be organizing in one of the venues where you hosted the meetup in the past. If this happens, use that past event from this particular venue and copy it again. This way you will gain not only the description saying why and what, which is probably which hasn't changed probably much since that time, but also where, with maps, parking details, and how to get there. Examples of platform which doesn't give you a possibility to copy the event. Well, you shouldn't think very hard. LinkedIn doesn't give you a possibility to copy the event. You need to make it again. And please share in the chat what platform you tested out and what you recommend or you experience problems with. I put a little star with the run events because they doesn't allow you to copy the event by yourself. But of course, you can ask the support to do it for you. So I found out that it is possible, but you need to ask for it. If you have ever created a formal call for speakers or call for papers, you might be overwhelmed how much effort it costs to make it proper. Why proper? Again, to avoid questions and save your time. You don't have time for answering questions speakers might have. So better do it proper. Maybe this is not an automation yet, but for sure save your time once making self-explanatory description. And if the event is happening again, you can just copy the call for speakers from the past, correct the dates, and then the amount of time you saved is much greater. One tip for you to save even more time, if you are organizing yearly event, do not use a year in the description and communication with speakers. Then after making a copy of the event or of the call for speakers, you don't need to correct those details in the description, hidden very deep in the description, and then you will not be notified by speakers or by attendees that you are invited for 2025, but in the description is 2024 and different date. Don't be surprised about it. But copy is some kind of a nice tip for you. Sessionize has a great option to host so-called user groups and put into the calendar several events during the year. This is in itself super helpful because it is automation without automating. Speakers can submit their sessions and sign up for the specific date. If you don't know it, just try it. And speaking about Sessionize with different event platforms, I hope all of you agree that it is better to do things once and distribute the content than make it again and again all over the place. So when we are choosing your platform to host the information about event, collecting, for example, call for speakers or call for papers, check how this integrates with other platforms others are using. And based on existing integrations, maybe with a little configuration, you might distribute the content like speakers, dashboards, accepted sessions, and schedule of your event. So these services like Community Days.org, which Tom was speaking about early before, maintained by Tom, who is doing a great work here, is one of the examples of those platforms which integrates with Sessionize and with, for example, run events, and saves you a lot of time and spread the information about your event even greater or wider to the community members. So with a little configuration, those services can be integrated with Community Days.org, and you don't need to spend time on filling out manually those things again and again. And when you are having some kind of a hosting, we are, for example, hosting our page for Baltic Summit on MailerLite. It gives you a possibility to put from Sessionize a little HTML script code, and then magic happens. You have on your page your speakers, you have on your page the schedule of the agenda of your event, you have on your page even the session descriptions and so on and so on. And remember, keep one source up to date and then distribute it to other places, because otherwise, if you will find yourself in the situation where you need to copy things and rewrite things somewhere else, then It is not an automation and it doesn't help you. And again, how about you? What kind of integration do you use to not rewrite your content into many different places? Share this in the chat. And speaking about integrations, payments are another area where Smart Decision can help you. If you agree with your sponsor that they will cover the cost of the venue and snacks, including pizza or any kind of lunch, good for you. But frankly speaking, not all sponsors prefer this way. They might prefer that they pay you and you can organize it. And for payments, and again, this is my subjective suggestion, I use Stripe. And I can highly recommend it. So I'm using Stripe and I'm creating a payment link. Send this link to the sponsor and ask them to pay online. Use the same link for all sponsors if you have more than one. What is the benefit here? Try to imagine that at some point of time, you no longer can use your bank account. You just need to switch to another bank account. And if you have a regular sponsor who supports you transferring money to your account, then when next time they need to transfer the money, probably they will transfer to the old one, not to the new one, because even if you inform them, they will forget or it will just pass their attention. And if you have one payment link, they can pay you no matter what changes are at the backend, always using the same link. The only change you need to do is to change the account number in Stripe, for example. Does it cost? Yes. But all the money transfer burden is out of your head. And not only that, Stripe can issue the invoice or receipt to your sponsor and handle the VAT tax if required. I think it sounds good, isn't it? Write down in the chat, again, what payment platform are you using? I would like to know. When it comes to purchase the food, snacks, or speakers, sometimes we buy some sweets, sometimes we print stickers, prepare t-shirts, one I have over here. This is our cost. And since most of us in the community are entrepreneurs, we would like to include those in our expenses to reduce our taxes. So how you may automate this part? Well, there are already online services available which you can do, which can actually do your bookkeeping or accounting, including invoice recognition. So you can send a scan of the invoice and they can recognize the invoice based on the picture. Sometimes they also remind you about the due date when you need to pay for the invoice. But be careful when selecting such a bookkeeping system or accounting system. Look at the integration capabilities, because you might want to integrate the system with another system, with Stripe, for example, or run events, or maybe with some other systems like Eventbrite, which we have been using. And how about tickets? Would you like to charge for workshops or avoid approximately 50% of no show-ups by charging a small fee for the ticket? If so, use platforms I already talked about for publishing the event and organizing sign-up and charge for the ticket. We have used so far Eventbrite and we were not very satisfied about it. But, well, this was our choice, and it is very hard to make a divorce with the tool which you have chosen on the first place and to transfer to something else. This is called change management. And be prepared that someone can ask you for the receipt or invoice. If you can integrate the ticket cell with the Stripe, you rock. If the platform you have chosen has its own payment system, like Eventbrite, connected with PayPal, then you might want to integrate this with your accounting system to track the records of sale and be ready to issue the invoice on request. Although Eventbrite can issue the invoice for you, Polish regulations, for example, force us to have the same invoice registered in your accounting system with the same number. So even though you have it in the Eventbrite, you had to copy the invoice to your accounting system. And of course, you can integrate. I have been using Azure Logic Apps to do this. Well, there was a little hiccup, and this hiccup hasn't been solved in Eventbrite. You cannot get the VAT number from the invoice from the Eventbrite using API. So be aware about it. And of course, for automations like this kind of integration, we have used, for example, Zapier. You don't need to, of course, invest time in the Microsoft tools if there are tools which are giving you quicker effects and maybe doesn't cost anything. So, of course, I'm a very big fan of Power Automate, and I always try first Power Automate, but I found Zapier very nice, cheap, because it was free at the start, and of course, intuitive. My personal advice, do not over-engineer the integration, and because you are just Microsoft enthusiast, as I am, keep your mind open for new platforms, as you may find them cheaper or even free, so for some extent. It gives you not only a simple way of paying, but also can manage invoices for the sponsor. Yeah. So, and finally, our biggest struggle, which takes up most of the time of the event organizer, how to become visible in the social media noise. How to reach your target audience, how to make social buzz and make people talk about your event. The questions I actually brought to MGCI community was exactly the same, which I have still listed in my notes. How to automate social media, how to automatically give likes to posts about you or reshare your post, how to reply with simple sentence to the comments which are mentioning you in the post, how to search against some specific hashtags and give away likes or reactions to posts that are mentioning your event, and so on and so on. I remember the honest talk with Wes Preston from MGCI that there is no magic or tool which you can do magic for you. The most valuable followers on social media are gained from the organic growth. So organic means manually invited, connected, encouraged to sign up. And this costs a lot of time. And believe me, this is a second job. But of course, there is a good news. There are tools to some extent, which can help you to some extent. So what you can do, you can use any opportunity, for example, like this, to talk about your event, which you are organizing. I used conferences. I was presenting, or I was as an attendee, and inviting others to come. Because spreading out the information organically, I found out that brings a lot of people who are really interested in the thing you are actually doing, not because they just been chased by a marketing tool and they have signed up by they don't know what they have signed up for, but they are following you. And there are tools, of course, to automate social media. But be careful with this, because social media are very fragile. They doesn't like aggressive marketing campaigns. They can lock your account. They can even delete your account in social media. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of they are using the same algorithms. And if they find out that something is wrong, then you will be in trouble. We are using mostly LinkedIn. I personally found it hard to automate. LinkedIn gives you the ability to schedule posts, but once it is scheduled, it cannot be edited. This is where you might consider tools like Zoho Social, for example, to be able to schedule similar posts on many different social media platforms. LinkedIn paid subscription didn't brought much value in this field as well. So in my opinion, it is not worth of it. And instead, grow your attention and network organically. And finally, use your speakers as your secret weapon to make a social buzz. When using, for example, session nights or run events, you have a possibility to generate a special social media feed with the picture of the speaker, event title, and title of the session. And run events went even further with this, and attendees can download similar picture saying that they are attending your event, and they can share this on their social media. Highly encourage you to encourage your speakers or attendees to do so. You can also use mailing tools like MailerLite, which we are using to automatically schedule mailings. And of course, MailerLite has a very simple automating tools which can trigger on some events. So try to do this. Eventbrite. Eventbrite has a plugin for MailChimp, and you can send a mail to people from previous events, inviting them to sign up. So this also helps you to automate some kind of a marketing, I would say. But whatever you do from above, always encourage speakers to attend or attendees to share the information within their network, either if it is internal one in their company or outside. This builds attention. And so wrapping things up from my side, do you need a sophisticated technology to automate event organization? I would say not always. Sometimes it is processes which you can define, write down as a runbooks or even bullets to follow up and gain great results. I encourage to write down the procedures. If you cannot copy scheduled messages, write them down and reuse them by simply copying them to the tool which you are using for example, for mailings. Sometimes specific functionalities of the tool you use saves you a lot of time. Integrations save even more time. And to make the event great, unfortunately, you need to spend the time talking with people. Have a clear message communicated in social media, who you are, what people can expect from your event, and where they can meet you. This is hard work, but in time, it will be automatically spreading from person to person, which will work magic for you. Do not forget to put your heart to what you are doing. If this will be your passion and not the way to make money, people will recognize it, and naturally, you will gain their attention. Be consistent with this. This way, you will be building greater events, and all of us from MGCI community and the community organizers and members, we are here to support you. There are even some ready-to-use guidelines to speed up your journey, and I believe Heather will be preparing them for you so you can use them freely. And if you find a good tool which helps you to automate some repetitive tasks, let us know. Let's all grow better together, exchanging your experience. Thank you.
That was awesome. Let's give a round of applause. That was awesome. So yeah, we have we might have some questions here. So let's do that. Anybody have a question that you want to either come off mute or that I was looking there's a lot of chat going on, by the way, while you were talking. A lot of people sharing how they do certain things, how to remove your email from a blacklist step-by-step guide that's really good. Some comments. Mark Rackley, one of our board members who runs a wonderful event, North American Collab, which he's taken a different approach using run events for speakers and scheduling, and then he's using Ticket Spice for ticket purchasing, and he's doing a coupon code for free tickets for students in military, and he put a link to his registration so you can see it. So yeah, those of you that hopefully inspire, this is such a great talk, inspiring if the way you do it, and if you want to share it in chat here with folks. And what I'll do in the back end, when we co-pilot the notes, I'll make sure and pull these things out as examples for people to see for sure. So does anybody have any questions? I'm looking through here to see if there was any actual questions. Feel free to raise hands or make comments. Go ahead.
I agree with the good marketer. We are looking for one.
Yeah. You know, I have to say, like, just even, you know, let's talk about this morning a little bit, you know, or last night where you were like, hey, is the LinkedIn, is the event made and all of that. And I was like, oh my goodness. And, you know, best attempts sometimes at things, honestly, you know, it's like, it does take a village on some of this stuff. And like, sometimes you'll be like, oh, we need to do something. You're like, well, I don't have permissions to do that. Or do you have permissions and we need to get permissions? Or you need to make the connection between, you know, like you're talking about Zapier and using other things. It's like, what connects to each other to do certain things? I have things in my life that I use that I've had because I've had them forever. Like I use personally, this is not an endorsement, but personally, I use Social Pilot for social media for myself to aggregate and put things out into the world. Some people use Sprinkler, some people use Buffer, some people use, like, there's a million ways to do these things, right? Depending. But yeah. Anyway, I saw a hand up. I'll quit talking. Who was that?
Tom.
Yeah, I just
ahead.
had a question. So I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm like, and you sort of answered it a little bit, but I don't, you know, you have to have a team to do this, right? So you can't really do this all by yourself, right? So how many people
do it by yourself? We are three of us. One is the guy from the social media who is making a lot of noise and requesting to connect or, you know, inviting people to the event. I am doing the accounting and all the automation stuff and things which you can imagine, whatever. And another guy who is, now we have 4 even, because this year we will have 4. But they are also talking with sponsors. They are talking with, they are making orders of the T-shirts and organizing food and so many things around it. So, you know, technically, if you are speaking about technicality, maybe 2 of us.
That's okay. That's slim. That's slim. Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I was saying, like, was, you know, working with a couple different events. And one of the things I said early on was like, we need to have a social media person just to help, you know, facilitate getting all that stuff out there on a scheduled basis. 'Cause that's really important. Right. And then all the organizers have to sort of lift, you know, and republish and post and promote, you know, those, all those social media things. And one of the things as a small event is like getting your speakers to actually retweet or like reshare, you know, those things really does help get that out there even further and farther.
No, don't be surprised. Resharing doesn't give you, doesn't gain you attention. So if the speaker will create their own content, their own post, it will gain more attention than resharing. We have already tested it.
Yeah. Oh, see, I didn't know that. Good to know.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to get off, ask my question.
I just realized I was on mute. I was like, okay. Sorry about that. There was a question about, I like that, Diana. Yeah. How about we do a demo of best practices running a marketing campaign? Yeah, I believe Wes and Sharon have marketing and social media in the list for the event training coming up too. So yeah, we'll make sure and promote that as well. Comments count more than resharing. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, for sure. Repost with thoughts. Yeah, it is interesting. It's like how it's kind of how the different algorithms work with the different social media accounts, right? Like what is sort of most looked at by algorithms on that of like reposting, like you were saying, Pat, with thoughts, you know, if like, so you can just hit repost, right, on LinkedIn, or you can hit repost with a quote. So you can be like, hey, this is so cool, blah, 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 and then hit, you know, and so it is an interesting game and learning of like what counts more depending on what you're looking at. If you're on TikTok as an example, right, watching for over a minute, you know, or making sure your videos are over a minute and then saving and then sharing and then commenting. It's an interesting learning if you don't have, you know, if you don't know much about it for sure. So yeah, this was awesome. And I think it turned a lot of really good thinking and a great chat for sure. So we'll do it again in the middle of the night, right?
Yes.
So,
Heather, just call me, wake me up.
okay, I will. I'll be like, ding-a-ling-a-ling, this is your alarm for MGCI awesomeness. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my gosh, so funny. So y'all, we're at the top of the hour. We will have our next one of these at 5 p.m. Pacific. So, for those of you who are in Europe, if you want to come back at 2 o'clock in the morning, you can. And then also we'll have our next March one, which is actually another 18, funnily enough, but it's March 18th coming up. We don't have a topic yet, but I think I'm going to pull one out of here and maybe see if Mark Rackley and some other folks might want to talk about like ticketing and free versus paid and all of that stuff. So we'll get that up very soon. And I really appreciate everybody. We had about 60 people, 60 on this morning. So that's great. So thank you so much for a great presentation, and we'll see you later today. And everybody, big goodness, be careful out there, and have a really good rest of your week, and talk to you soon. So, all right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you very much.
All right, cheers.
Bye.
Bye.